Welcome back, guys. Welcome to season 5.
Season 5.
And we're in our new studio that Amanda designed. Look at this pretty thing, huh?
I'm really excited about it.
I know, it's so pretty. What was your inspiration?
Okay, so there's a lot of inspirations, but mostly I loved the way our episodes that we did in your house in LA felt.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was kind of
That makes sense because like the windows and like the teal sort
the
of
colors, the brightness, your roses.
Fresh, clean, modern, classic.
Well, actually, those are camellias, but they look like roses.
Well, that's my garden out front is like full of, I always call it the secret garden because it's full of flowers.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, and we both love blues and teals. We're both attracted to that in real life. And then obviously pops of pink because we're a little pink on the inside, you know?
Well, and that's a lot of you too.
Well, I see it a lot in you too.
I'm wearing
You're
bright
in pink
color
today.
I know. I'm usually in like gem tones, but I'm going with the pops of pink. You know what? For the first time in my life, I am adding pink to my wardrobe. I've never worn pink before.
It's one of the, like, what is it? The Pantone color of the year. I think it's like a fuchsia color.
Is it?
It is.
Oh.
Which I'm all about.
Yeah, you are.
You know I love some fuchsia.
You do love some fuchsia.
So I'm about
If I was to think of Amanda and a color, it'd be fuchsia.
You think so?
Yes.
That's funny. I mean, maybe so.
Well, so guys, we're going to do something a little different today. We are not going to have a guest. We are going to talk about, we're going to have a topic. So we have a topic we want to talk about today.
New format alert.
Specifically, yes. Today we're going to talk about a topic that actually makes me mad, crazy. I don't understand it. I really don't want to talk about it, but I think we need to talk about it because people won't shut up about it. Nepo babies.
Yeah.
So this whole thing. So we'll get into that a little bit later. And we're going to talk about the prince of Nepo babies, Prince Harry. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about the spare. So that's a little bit what we're getting into in a little bit. But we want to hit some topics today, and then we're gonna go to you guys for some questions because you guys left some questions on our Instagram page. So we're gonna go to the Instagram and answer some of your questions. So
Which I'm so excited about. Getting to interact more and get people involved.
It'll be fun because we get to kind of be a little bit more topical, be a little bit more like what's happening this week, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
let's get it started in here.
So what have you been doing this week?
Oh my gosh, I've been listening to a lot of Prince Harry.
Yeah.
Audiobook.
I feel like I know a lot about him now.
I mean, I thought I knew stuff and I was never interested before, but so that's been in my car, keeping me busy. And then my son turned 17.
Can you how do you have a 17-year-old?
I don't know.
How did that happen?
When I'm 17 still. And most people think I'm 17 still because I was 17 when I wrapped Clarissa Explains It All. So how do I have a 17-year-old?
It blows my mind. Did you guys have a good celebration?
We did. He was a little teenage boy. Like I went into a cake place and had to explain to the woman, I'm sorry, I need a cake last minute because, and I felt like I had to apologize. And I was like, because he didn't tell us what he wanted to do. And so we're just trying to put something together. It was weird. It was the first time I didn't get to and the last few years have just been a sleepover with the national championship game. His birthday always happens to be on the national championship, which Alabama tends to play in. So it's been like a sleepover with a few boys watching the football game. But, we have certain foods and there's cake and that kind of thing and certain presents. This year he got a really big Christmas. So he didn't really get a big birthday.
Okay.
And he really just wanted, he just kind of wanted some, he just wanted money. So it was like he wanted money to go to something specific. So it was like
teenage life.
Money. And that's the thing. Like it's all changing, right? It used to be like, what kind of big bash? What kind of invite am I going to send out? What kind of cake are we going to get that's in the theme? Like his first birthday, right, was a green birthday. I called it a green birthday. He loved everything green: lizards, snakes, frogs, everything green. So we
have that in common.
You
not
guys,
green, but all the crawly things.
He loves his biology. He loves his reptiles, all that. So, for his first cake, it was like there was a frog on it and a gecko on it. And then, we had green eggs and ham and we had green grilled cheeses and green mac and cheese. We did like green foods everywhere. And then we had I just decorated with all green balloons. And, it was just nice for his first birthday to just pick a simple theme like that, just a color. And then, for Brady's, his first one was balls. What was it? Balls, balloons, and bubbles. Bubbles, balls, balloons. So it was all round things. And I made a cake. I made this cake that was trying to look like balls, but not those kinds of balls, you guys. Clean it up. So like little kid balls. That doesn't make it better.
Sports balls.
Sports balls, like bouncy balls. And so, to not have a birthday to throw, like they've had years of laser tag and they've had years of Star Wars themes, and this was like the first time it was like, what do you want to do? Nothing. What do you want to do? Nothing.
Then nothing.
And then all of a sudden, but I was like, I know he's gonna all of a sudden be like, can I have 17 people over at a pool party and a blah blah blah. So I was trying to preempt that, and so I did something I probably should have done. I reached out to his friends.
Oh, no.
And I was like, maybe we should do a surprise party. I don't know. But
this is going to end poorly.
But I just said to his friends, do you want to go? He wants to go to the trampoline park. Do you want to go jump on the trampolines with him and maybe have dinner with him? And they were like, great, yes. When, what time, where should we meet? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, coordinate with him. So trying to get his friends to kind of be like, we want to celebrate with. I even called one mom and said, will you have your son talk to Mason about his birthday and like plan something? So anyway.
How'd that work?
So Mark and I are waiting at he wanted chicken too for dinner, like hot Nashville chicken. So we were sitting at a chicken place with our other two boys, and we're sitting there waiting for him. And Mason like doesn't show up, and then his friends don't really show up, and then his friends call us, "Where's Mason?" And we're like, "We don't know, but why don't you come over and have some chicken?" And like, so then finally, about an hour later, Mason and his friends show up, and we all eat a big hot chicken like meal, and then they all went to the trampoline park. But I was like, I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, the kid's not on time. His friends are gonna be here. It's kind of like when the guest of honor doesn't show up and you're like, what is going on? But these teenage boys, they have their own clock. They have their own timing. They all showed up at the same time. So I guess they were on the same page. Just Mark and I sitting there going, did we make a mistake? Like, does he want us to be a part of this? He said he wanted us here. So he did want to spend his birthday with us, which was nice. So, and he gave me a hug. And when I texted him and I said, last night I wrote, I love you, happy birthday. He wrote, love you too, Mom. I almost screenshotted it because you don't get those a lot when they're teenagers.
Save that. Oh,
you should.
You'll never regret having it.
I know, the other day too.
One more year of this. And
I know. College. Well, that's what I keep saying. One more year of childhood. And then our job is done.
Oh.
Our job is done. We don't, of course we're not going to.
I can't handle that thought.
I know it's not really though. Like,
I know,
the rest of his life. But that's all he needs us for. Like, our job was to get him to 18, healthy, strong, safe. We just had to keep him safe. Keep
He's
him
such a good
healthy
kid,
and keep him clean. And get them educated.
I've been like on the verge of barfiness all week at the thought of like kids growing up. I bought a new car this week, which has been great. I love it. It's so exciting. But we were trying to figure out like, do we lease? Do we buy? What do we want to do? And my husband looked at me and he was like, well, we've only got like 6 years until Riker's driving. It could be his car. And I was like, who?
Yeah.
Like, nope.
You know when you get like a credit card, you get your new credit card and the expiration date? Like, I looked at the expiration date when I got it. Yeah, it always feels like it's like, what, 7 years away or something like that? And I looked at it when I got it and I was like, that's when Mason's going to graduate.
Ew.
And now all of a sudden that credit card is 1 year away from expiring. And I'm like, oh, I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it.
No. Oh,
but this is our job. I mean, it's like, this is what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to get them on. We're supposed to move them on to their own. We're supposed to raise them up right. And that's hopefully what we've done. And then send them out in the world and hope that,
Well, you've done a really good job with that one.
Thanks.
With all three of them, really. But
it doesn't always feel like it, but thank you for saying so.
I love your kids. They're amazing.
I'm glad they're nice to you. I'm glad they're nice to other people.
Well, Mason makes me think of football and footballers. We have to talk about Damar Hamlin. How miraculous.
I was sitting, it's funny because my husband is the football guy, of course, and we were sitting at a Mexican restaurant when that game was on, and I'm the only one facing 2 TVs. And Mark said my face just dropped. Like, I was like, that guy just fell down. And he kind of turned around and watched and looked it up on Twitter and whatnot, and kind of looked it up and was like, something's going on. There's an ambulance. And then when you saw the other players' faces,
I know.
That's when you were like, something's, because usually they'll be like, they'll get down on a knee, someone's got a broken, leg, or, they're just checking them out. That was just beyond. And it stopped the world for a minute. Like, it stopped our country for a minute, where everybody stopped and prayed and thought, and it changed the dynamic for a second.
I had no idea what was going on, and one of our friends sent a message to our group text and was like, hey, anybody else watching this?
I wanted to send one to the group text too, but I wasn't sure that everyone watches.
I don't really watch, but I turned it on, obviously, in that moment just to see what she was talking about, and prayed for the kid because I didn't know who he was or, what had happened to him. But the whole night, my heart was just like, oh, like, you're worried.
Yeah.
And this wasn't someone I knew, but I've been following it since because I've been concerned.
Well, and it certainly felt like he wasn't going to make it.
It definitely
It certainly felt like he was gone on the field and they were just trying to, keep up hope. But it's miraculous the way he recovered, the way he responded, the way he went on Instagram and posted and like.
Oh, my favorite was the video that was going around of his FaceTime. I don't know who it was to, but he was like, I'm going home.
I think it was his player. I think it might have been the
cute.
team.
And I was like tearing up, like so happy for him because he was so happy. But I heard that he like woke up immediately and was like, did we win? Like it was not like a.
Well, that's the thing. Apparently they started, I didn't know this. They started doing CPR like 30 seconds after he fell down. So they kept the blood pumping through his body, which is huge.
And his brain,
saved his brain. Which is why even if his body had come back, his brain could have been gone, and they did a miraculous thing. But then didn't like a player died yesterday, 31-year-old player. Like it's funny because like I think that what's interesting about this story is we all watched it, right? It was live, it was on video. We have tons of angles of this happening, and you know to think he's 24, his mom is there watching. As a football mom, I can tell you there's a football mom prayer that goes something like, maybe we can post it somewhere because it's like the mom just watches to see her boy get out of the pile, get up from the pile, get up from the pile. And this wasn't even a pile. This was just him taking a hit,
he just
making the hit, standing up, falling over. I mean, falling over with his arms straight down. Like he didn't even catch himself. He didn't hold on to his heart like a heart attack happens.
No,
like,
I don't think he felt any pain. I think it was just an immediate.
Just went down hard. It was, and to know his mom is there and and his dad somewhere, you know, that your parents, siblings, friends watching at home, and like it's every mom's worst nightmare to think. And my concern was, where's his mom? Where's his mom? But apparently they got her out of the bleachers,
there with him,
brought her down, and put her in the ambulance.
Now, as a football mom, though, is it worth this? Like,
well, Mason looks at me and goes, "This is why I'm not too hot on playing football anymore." But he wants to fly airplanes. That's not any safer.
It's a lot safer.
Flying airplanes?
I think it's a lot safer.
You trust my 17-year-old behind in an engine with an engine and a yoke and up in the sky?
For sure. It's not a high impact sport.
It is if you hit the ground.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that happening, he's safer flying than he is driving a car.
But not his own plane. He's safer being in someone else's air. He's safer being in a commercial jet.
But when you train to become a pilot and doing it, especially the way that Mason does it, private lessons, lots of hours in the cockpit with someone.
He does do a simulator. He has a simulator.
He has a simulator. He is going to have more experience behind him than most people flying airliners.
Yeah.
So
he does have a lot
I would totally
experience
trust Mason.
I know. But he's sitting there saying, you know, this is why you shouldn't want me to play football because things like this can happen. And that was a freak accident. I mean, what happened to Damar Hamlin was a freak accident.
Yeah.
But
for sure. It was like a perfect angle, perfect timing.
But what a nice way to start the year that like we have a positive story out of it. That he
I know.
is.
I mean, I teared up for the guy. I've never met him. I hardly watch football. And for me to be so affected by it, I was like, this is like a miracle. This is a walking miracle. And I know God's going to do something crazy good with that kid because
he already
no
raised
way he'd be walking around if he wasn't.
$7 million for his charity for children.
That's
right?
incredible.
I think it's like children's toys to donate to the children. I think it was like at a couple $100,000 or something before he started that game. And then after that game, I think it was around $7 million or something like that. It's insane.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. So something good already came out of it. And besides the fact that, you know, his mommy still gets to hug him. Oh, thank God.
I know.
I'm going to tear up thinking about that. But it does happen. I was thinking about this too. It does happen a lot, right? In this sport, especially like summertime workouts in the heat.
Well, not just the hard stuff, but like the concussions, the CTEs, things like that. Like there's a lot of long-term.
The heat stroke, a lot of heat stroke stuff, a lot of compound fractures, career-ending injuries that then you think about Boobie Miles in the movie Friday Night Lights and like he breaks his leg, can't play again, but that's all he's been trained to do is play football. I always watch, you know, when people, so I kind of have a little bit of a jinx on me where if I wear someone's jersey, they usually have a career-ending injury or just happen to just never play again. So I don't really like to wear people's jerseys. However, I do wear my son's at his game, so that's weird. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. But
isn't that a thing too? Like the video game Madden, they say if you're on the cover,
oh yeah, if you're on the cover of Madden, it's a big curse.
It's like the Madden and Melissa.
Yeah, Madden Melissa. Anything with an M kind of creates a curse in football. But yeah, so I just, there was Prothrow was a big player at Alabama, and I loved him because he rolled into the end zone with a ball. He caught a ball behind a defender's back and then somersaulted with the guy into the end zone for a touchdown. It was amazing. We actually have a picture of it hanging up in our house. It hangs above Brady's bed right now of Prothrow rolling in the end zone. And then I think it was like the next game or the one after that, where we were at the game and you could hear his leg snap and
no.
go into the ground. And he got an infection in his leg and he never played again. And it's like, these boys that are raised up to just do this very, very physical activity, it's just tough because and look, all my son's friends and everyone I know, they are football people and that's what they want. These boys want to do. It's all they want to do. It's the only thing they want to do in college. But it just worries me because every injury is...
Well, thank God that Mason has something else he loves too.
I know. It is a little bit of relief going into college, knowing that he can, if he gets good scores on his tests and he gets a good GPA,
he's going to do great.
He can do some stuff, and it's not all.
Well, I have no
reliant on
doubt. He's so smart anyway, and so sweet.
Oh, thanks.
You're doing good.
And he's 17, you guys. My baby's 17.
Okay. Well, I was going to talk about the Golden Globes, but I feel like...
Do you want to talk about the Globes?
We have to talk about Angela Bassett.
Oh.
She won... I think you have the list. I forgot what she won for.
Angela Bassett. Let's see. So
supporting actress. I think.
You know what? I didn't watch them, guys. I'm full disclosure here. I know I'm in the industry.
Well, I have to show you what this dress looked like because I
kind of forgot that the Globes were on, to be honest. But Jenna Ortega is with my manager, Gordon, who I love, and Jenna was nominated, and now she's nominated for a SAG award because now it's award season.
Beautiful.
Jenna, she looked fantastic
she
in Prada, in pink Prada, right? I saw her.
Let's see,
Instagram
Angela Bassett
today.
Golden Globe gown. Okay, so this gown, is there anything more quintessentially old Hollywood than that dress?
Statuesque, like silver,
beautiful
floor length,
and her. I mean,
beaded,
everything
probably really heavy because of all the beading, right?
Probably, but stunning. Best look of the night, in my opinion. Oh no, the chair just ate my phone. Oh no.
We'll find it.
It's fine.
Okay, so let's talk about the winners real quick. So,
Austin Butler.
You've got... Oh, Angela Bassett did win. Oh, she won for Wakanda.
She was the first one of the night.
Black Panther.
And her speech was great. Beautiful. Hands down, the most beautiful woman there. Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, her speech apparently.
Best speech ever.
Well, she's funny in such a quirky way, right?
Yes. I felt like she was doing stand-up the whole time.
Although, spoiler alert, I haven't watched the new season of White Lotus and I can't wait, but she said that she dies in it. So I was like, damn it. Now I know.
She does. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But it's so good. And the way they do it, as sad as I am to see her character go because I love her, Tanya is the best. They do it so perfectly.
I'm sure she can come. Well, does she shit in a suitcase like in the last?
No, that wasn't her.
Best part. I know that wasn't her, but that's the guy who died in the first one. But like that's
spoiler alert.
But I love that scene. The way
that is the most awkward scene. Can you imagine filming that?
The way they shot it, though, and all I can think of is how did they do it? Because it's just a profile of him
and the
suitcase
coming out.
And he squats down over the suitcase, and you just see like a Hershey squirt come on out, like a soft serve ice cream. So I want to know how they shot that. Like, was it CGI?
Madam Director,
but it's just like shadowing. It's like you don't really see. It's not well lit. Like it's backlit, so it's shadowed. So it's like just a profile. It's such a cool way to show it without actually showing like the details of it. So
I love that show. I love how grungy it is. I love how honest it is, and absolute. I mean, it's so funny.
I can't wait to see the second season. There's so much to catch up on. It's insane. I'm still catching up on Handmaid's Tale and so much stuff. So
I know.
I mean, and then The Crown was nominated but didn't win because House of Dragons won.
Aren't you so happy?
I get along. I agree with that one. I mean, Better Call Saul is great. The Crown is great. Ozark great. Severance I haven't seen, but House of Dragon, yeah, like yes. Fabelmans,
Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it still.
Now, my husband and son went to see it, and they said it's very good.
I can't wait. My friend Erin
they're both
worked on
filmmaker
it.
people, so.
But it's about So here's the thing. There's been a ton of autobiographies, right? Like where people write their own book. But I don't know of an autobiographical movie with the director about the director. Like, I don't think there's been one done. So for Spielberg to do a movie about Spielberg.
Almost Famous. Cameron Crowe.
But was that about him? Was it really about him?
Yeah, that's his life story.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that close. I thought it was just sort of like taken from real life. But it's such an interesting concept, and it's just such a different way to do. And look, here's the thing. Every once in a while, I have to pinch myself and go, Spielberg's still like a current. Like, look at the list of directors, right? You have Cameron, you have James Cameron, you have Baz Luhrmann. I mean, you have Steven Spielberg in the DGA. There's there's so many like old timey directors that are still, the classics, the best of the best. George Lucas, like these, some of these guys are still with us that were like, that you talk about in sort of a context of icon legend,
right?
As
they're
if they're
recent
gone.
Icons.
Yeah. But they're still with us.
Like you're learning about them in film school, and they're still working.
And they're the ones that set the precedent. They're the ones that did the best of the best work, and they're still doing it. It's so cool.
It is cool, but you got to think like film. It's how many years has this been a thing? 100 years?
Yeah, let's say 100. Well, that's the thing. But you think about like Marilyn Monroe's gone, Elvis Presley's gone. And you think about some of these old time stars. Rosemary Clooney, or
it feels very separated in time. It feels
like that was a different you almost don't even remember the directors from that. I mean, you have Francis Ford Coppola. You have like all these people that now are still living and making movies.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're the guys that are, and unfortunately not really many girls. I mean, we lost Penny Marshall and Gary Marshall. But like these are still the people that are like out there entertaining us. And now they're making movies about themselves.
So cool.
It's pretty cool.
But it's a great story to tell. Riker he's 10 and he was so entertained and inspired. He came home, and of course, the thing he really took from it is how to fake blood coming out of a shirt. And
good stuff.
Yeah. So he's been making lots of movies where he gets shot and things ooze out, but I won't let him use red. So he's like in the bathroom taking washable markers and taking the ink out and making like purple. So I'll let him do it. Because I was like, I don't want violence. Like you can be an alien that bleeds purple. It's fine.
Oh, that's cool.
But you cannot be like gory and
neon
gross.
Yellow or something.
Yeah. Do something that's clearly fake. I'm good with that.
I like that. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Did you see that one? Because that one.
No, but I really want to see that.
Best performance by an actor in a supporting role. Ke Huy Quan? Or Ke Huy Quan? I don't know how you say it.
Don't look at me.
Kevin Costner for Yellowstone, which I think is interesting because I do think like Bob Odenkirk, I don't know. I think Costner's just Costner.
Kevin Costner is still fabulously beautiful.
He's Costner. Like it's not, I don't know. He's not
I went into a friend's bathroom the other day. So fun fact, over the weekend, I got my assistant's son engaged.
Oh, you got them engaged.
Okay, so quick story time. Last week, he was here in our office for a job interview, and I cornered him. And he's been dating his girlfriend for like 3 or 4 years, like long enough. He's about to graduate law school. He's got a lot going on in his life. She's fabulous. And I was like, so you're here to talk about the future, huh? And he was like, I mean, yeah, I guess. I was like, speaking of future, when are you going to propose?
Oh, my God.
Here's the thing. I already knew he had a ring. I knew it was going to happen, but he was not making plans. He was moving very slow. And he was like, well, I really should have already done it, but, I've got to get through school, yada, yada. And I was like, I don't like that answer. No, we're going to need to get this done. And he's like, well, like when? I was like tomorrow?
Oh, jeez.
He's like, I don't think I could get it done that fast. I was like, oh, I could. He's like,
what did you do? Did you help him with the scenario?
Oh, I did the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, that's cute. I've done that once before.
I came up with the whole plan. I decorated. His mom hired a photographer. Her parents got her there.
Wow.
Boom. Done. The next day, I got him engaged.
Nice.
It was awesome.
I helped one of Mark's band members once set him up on a beach at a restaurant, got them the window table, and then set him up with told him he had to go, they told him that he had to wait for their table, and they had to go outside by the beach, and they're walking on the beach, and a glass bottle with a note in it was there. But she wouldn't take her shoes off to go in the sand, so he had to try to convince her to walk in the sand to go find the bottle.
Oh, no.
But I was hiding in the bushes taking pictures. And
I was in a cedar tree.
You were?
Yeah.
Were you taking pictures?
Oh, where was it? Oh, so I was in the friend's bathroom. So this girl's grandmother has this beautiful house out at this farm where he proposed. And so we're all gathering, waiting on everything to go down. And I walk into her bathroom, and on the side of the vanity in her bathroom is this massive poster of Kevin Costner's face.
Oh.
And I walk out, and I was like, why is Kevin Costner watching me pee? And she's like, because if anybody's going to watch you pee, don't you want it to be Kevin Costner?
Well, I have Dolly Parton in mine. Is that bad?
I was like, yes, that makes sense. Okay.
Well, there's if you're interested, Party Foul has Yellowstone trivia on Wednesday nights, apparently.
Well, I would fail because I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's true. You don't like that kind of violent stuff. And that is violent.
No, but the bear, I could win the Bear tribute.
What else won? Let's see. So The Bear, The Dropout. Amanda Seyfried won for The Dropout. White Lotus.
Is that how you say it? Seyfried?
I thought so. Seyfried?
Seyfried? I don't know. I'm asking
Actually,
you.
I don't know. Let's go watch the Golden Globes and we'll
Come
know.
on, Madam Director. You should know this.
Oh, Abbott Elementary won, and Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary. See, that's one I need to watch. I feel like I would really like that. And
I
then,
think
of course,
I like
Austin.
it too. I've heard really great things about it.
Oh, The Banshees of Inisherin. The Banshees of Inisherin won for Best Motion Picture Musical Comedy.
I've not even heard of that.
Colin Firth. It's an Irish movie.
Which Colin?
Colin Firth?
No. Which one is Colin Firth?
Colin Firth's. He's I Love Actually. It's Colin
Farrell.
But yeah. Colin Farrell, the Irish
Is
handsome
he still
bloke.
hot?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, good.
But I haven't seen this one yet. But I want to.
I think of him in like '90s Colin Farrell, and I'm like, okay.
No, I think he still looks pretty similar. But the thing is about these categories, what I like about the Globes is you have Best Motion Picture Drama, and then you have musical or comedy. And
why are musicals and comedies stuck together? That's not fair.
Because I guess they just assume there's not although there's more of those, it seems. But I mean, as far as, best motion picture, I think went to the best one. I mean, Avatar, great, but Elvis, fantastic, but I still think there were some things lacking. Fabelmans I haven't seen, so I don't know, but I have a feeling it's spectacular. Fabelmans. Oh. And then there's Tar, right? There's an accent over the A. I don't know if you say it, Terror. And Top Gun Maverick, which I think is brilliant.
Elvis was amazing. So
Top Gun is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. Maverick is probably one of my all-time favorite movies I've ever seen in the theater. Like, I was on a roller coaster. I was throwing my hands in the air and screaming as if I'm on a roller coaster.
Holding your breath when you're in the G-forces.
Squeezing Mark's hand, jumping out of my seat, screaming.
Did they do that one in 4D? Maybe we should go do that in the chair.
So much fun. I had my own 4D going on. Mark was laughing at me. Martha Ann went with us.
4D
Our friend Martha Ann went, and she just kept looking at me and laughing at me because I was like,
was she hitting you?
Ah! Yeah. She's like, "You're right over there." But then I think I told you that I just watched Knives Out and Glass Onion.
Yeah.
So that was
Glass Onion's
really
happening
fun.
hopefully this weekend.
Because that was nominated in the comedy. So here's the thing, when Mark won't watch, Mark hates, he's like, it's an Oscar movie, forget it, it's going to be boring. But if it's a Globe movie and it's in the comedy division, you've got things like Babylon that I desperately want to see, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Glass Onion, and Triangle of Sadness.
Okay, Babylon. I'm a little nervous. I feel like they keep trying to make Babylon happen.
Is it like the story of Babylon?
It's like Hollywood, right?
Yeah, but what does Babylon mean?
It's early Hollywood.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it looked like 70s. Like Margot Robbie, who is it? Margot Robbie, is it Brad Pitt?
I think it's,
Brad Pitt,
the 20s maybe. It's like silent film.
Is it?
Right?
Interesting. Let's see. Let me see. A tale of outsized ambition and outrageous excess. It traces the rise and fall of multiple characters during an era of unbridled decadence and depravity in early Hollywood. The original epic set in 1920s L.A. with Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Diego Calva with an ensemble cast including these people. A tale of outsized, It just repeats what it said.
There you go.
Yeah,
apparently it didn't do as well as I expected, but I feel like they're just trying to force it on me.
But now I really want to see it. I didn't know it took place in the 20s.
Which just makes me want to see it less.
I love that period. That is not what I got.
My idea.
That's not what I got from the preview at all. It's so weird.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. All right, I'm going to go watch that one.
Maybe that's why it did poorly. Because people didn't know what it was.
They put so much on their leading cast. Like Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, come see it. And
the most beautiful people in the whole wide world.
Okay, but tell me what it is or I'll just wait. That's the problem these days. We can wait. We never used to be able to wait. If you didn't see it in the theater that week, it was gone.
In my not hard pants and be very happy.
Not hard pants? Is that see? Jeans used to be a lax kind of pant, and now jeans are too rigid for us.
No hard pants.
No hard pants.
Let's do. You want to move on to questions?
Let's do questions.
I'm so excited about this part, guys. I need you to make this a thing. Stick with us.
Yeah,
send us all the questions.
Send us questions every week. We'll ask you for questions, and you guys can ask us, and we will try to answer.
I love this idea. I love talking to all of y'all on Instagram. Anyway, I get messages from some people. And I really enjoy it.
It's fun. It's fun to interact. All right. Especially because we want to know what you... I mean, we're doing this for you guys. So, I mean, it's fun for us too. But we're doing it for you guys. So tell us what you like. Okay. Let's see. What do you have? What do you want to ask?
Okay, so the first one I have is from what I assume is Prince, PRXCE.Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, this question is for both Melissa and Amanda. If you could pick from these three of Melissa's most iconic characters, which one would you want to spend an entire day with and why? Sabrina, Clarissa, or Mel Burt?
Wow, that's a tough one. Because, like, I mean, Sabrina, maybe she'd wish you grant you a wish kind of thing with her magic. You could do something fun, like go ski on Mars. But like Clarissa is more adventurous, but Mel is just a lush,
hot mess. So fun.
Yeah, but maybe not fun to be around. Maybe more fun for me to play than to be around.
Think you'd hang out with Mel?
I think I would, but I think she'd get tiring. It's a lot of energy.
She'd be a small doses friend.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, small doses. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of hot mess stuff going on. So I think you're getting in a lot of trouble with her. But
I'm going to go with Clarissa because I feel like I grew up with her.
Yeah.
And in my head, we'd wear the same clothes size so I could raid her closet.
Yeah. I mean, and like
we'd probably be a bit bohemian together.
There's something about Clarissa. She likes she always liked history and music, and so you'd be fun to go to a concert with, or like you could go with her to like the museum or so. Like I feel like you could kind of do anything with her and it'd be cool.
Yes, and I feel like she'd totally be down for the French 75 game.
French 75, yes. Yeah, I think we should. I think I would agree. I think Clarissa, except that I'm kind of thinking like Sabrina would grant me a wish. Like maybe I could make Mason 16 again. No, just kidding.
Oh, mama. Don't you feel like as moms we should get presents for our kid's birthday?
Yeah, I do like it when there's people that
them.
reach out that are like, happy birthday to you. Like,
yeah, like, thanks, Mom.
Especially the first one. Man, they're tough to get out.
Whole
watermelon
out
of your legs.
Cha-Cha Louise.
Cha-Cha Louise.
Sorry.
All right, what else we got? I'd love to hear Amanda do short book reviews. Amanda, what have you been reading? Give us a book review.
Well, did I tell you about the Whalebone Theater last week?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm still doing that one. And we'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but I just started Spare.
Oh, yes.
But over the holidays, I read this quick little book called The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. And it's like a teen read. It's not like anything spectacular, but it's about this teenage girl who lives on this spaceship and she's heading towards like a second Earth kind of thing. A little similar to one of the plot points in Cloud Cuckoo Land. I don't know if anybody's read that one.
I've never heard of that.
That's another great one that I've read over the last couple of months.
What a great title.
It's really, it's a lot of Greek. If you like Greek mythology,
okay,
you'll like Cloud Cuckoo Land.
All right. A little Percy Jackson.
Yeah, sort of, but less gods, more war.
Okay.
But really, really well done. But Loneliest Girl in the Universe was really fast and fun.
All right.
So highly recommend if you like a little twisty, turny, can read it in half a day kind of book.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, someone said, I've never talked about Twisted Desire. This is BuzzBomb86. Please talk about Twisted Desire. You gave a brilliant performance, and it's very different from most of your work. You rarely mention it. How did you become involved in the project? What was it like to play a dark character? Also,
what is
Silence
Twisted Desire?
Twisted Desire, you guys. Wait, is this the one? Yeah. I had just finished Clarissa. No. So I did one with Jason Marsden and like a lot of the cast from like laughing.
Hold up.
When we did.
Did the brain give this question?
No.
Okay.
That was a different, I was thinking they were around the same time, but actually they're about a year apart. I think Twisted Desire I did when I was about 19 or 20. I think we shot it in South Carolina, Charleston, I think it was. First time I had shrimp and grits. I do remember that. Maybe I was like, it was before I started Sabrina, so I must have been about 20 when I did it. So in Twisted Desire, I'm obsessed with David Lasher, the actor David Lasher. Funny enough, he was in Sabrina.
Hey, dude.
He was in Hey Dude. He's got his podcast now, but he was also on Sabrina as Josh for many years, my boyfriend there. But in this one, this is the first time we worked together. He was my boyfriend, and he broke up with me because my dad was too overbearing and made me have my dad played by Daniel Baldwin.
Okay.
And his real life wife at the time played my mom, and they made me like come home from. He came to a party and dragged me out of the party. Like my dad was like, "No, you missed curfew and all this stuff, right?" He's very strict. So David Lasher's character breaks up with me, and so I fall in love with kind of bad boy neighbor. I think played by Jeremy Jordan. If you watched 90210, do you remember Tori Spelling going at the end of the episode. I think maybe it's the beginning. She'd go up to a jukebox in the Peach Pit and push a button and go, Jeremy Jordan, all right. And then it's the right kind of love, you're the right. So that's Jeremy Jordan. So
that Jeremy Jordan.
That Jeremy Jordan.
Okay.
So Jeremy Jordan, because I think there's a lot of Jeremy Jordans. So that Jeremy Jordan is my boyfriend. I kind of, he likes me and I kind of start a relationship with him. Actually, it's probably the only sex scene I've ever done. And like it's sexy. Like we were like if it was today,
like
SAG would
romping?
have an intimacy coach with us, kind of thing.
Oh.
It didn't get that racy. It was for NBC.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was NBC, maybe ABC. Anyway, so Jeremy Jordan and I kind of fall in love, get it on in my parents' bed. They come home, they raged because they find us in their bed, and I convinced him that the only way for us to be together is for him to take out my parents. So I convinced him to kill my parents, based on true story. So this is one of the first like true crime movies. And so I convinced him to kill my parents, and he shoots them, and then he goes to prison, and I get David Lasher back. Sorry, a spoiler alert.
Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
Breaking that one back out.
Jeremy Jordan, all right. So that was a fun one for me. I got to be very twisted with my desire. But then Silencing Mary is another fun one. That one I was doing when I did Sabrina. My sister was a producer with me. She came up with this great idea while she was researching colleges. She realized that universities have their own police system, and rapes are rarely mentioned in local police reports, so you can't get the records for a certain college of how safe their campus is. It was originally called Campus Justice. And so my sister did this research and basically created this storyline, and then we got a writer to write the script about how a girl working at the school paper on a university campus discovers that the rape culture is being hidden.
Yes,
and
I know this movie.
This is a long time ago. Yeah, so it was originally called Campus Justice when we filmed it, but so I still kind of call it that sometimes because I forget that it became Silencing Mary. I was Mary, and the football team's trying to silence me brutally.
You will not be silenced.
It's a great cast, actually. We have a really fantastic cast, and you will recognize a lot of those faces in there. And we filmed it in Vancouver, so it's a lot of Vancouver talent that still works to this day, like a lot of people that you'll see in a lot of projects these days. And it was just it was another darker drama. So I guess BuzzBomb likes my drama work. Thank you so much. I hope you've seen Dirty Little Secrets, because that was my most recent one. So Amanda, you know how sometimes you'll find like a strange birthmark and like we'll send it to our group chat.
The picture of, is this normal?
Is this normal? What should I do about this? What do you think this is? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to text your group chat people about your health problems?
It's probably not great because you're not really likely to find great medical advice.
It's definitely a bad idea to ask your friends or go down the rabbit hole of TikTok or Googling something about your symptoms.
You will most likely always be dying.
You will, within 2 clicks, you could be dying. Like that's the way it will go if you don't use a professional doctor and get a true medical opinion.
We have a way to make that way easier through one of our new sponsors, ZocDoc.
Yes, on ZocDoc, you'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care, unlike your text group chat TikTok people.
I mean, they care about us, but maybe not as much as
they
a doctor.
do, but they don't know what they're talking about. So you got to go to ZocDoc. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor, and you haven't met them yet.
Yeah, millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who is patient-reviewed and fits their needs and scheduled just right.
So go to ZocDoc.com/WWB and download the ZocDoc app for free.
Yeah.
Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
Yeah, when you're not feeling your best and just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all your energy. So go to ZocDoc, that's ZocDoc.com/WWB, ZocDoc.com/WWB. And thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring What Women Binge.
All right, let's do one more. Okay, so here's a cute one. Do you think Tucker will be an actor? That's from Eliana.
Well, this will lead us into our
Casillas?
big topic today because I don't know if Tucker will be an actor. I also have an inkling that maybe Brady will go that route because they
totally see
both
that.
are like kind of artists at heart.
Mm-hmm.
They both like to be creative. They both like I don't know. They've both been really good liars. So maybe that leads to it. But up until now, I will say that my kids, if they showed any interest in being in the business, it was for the wrong reasons. It was for money and fame. Because
really?
They think it's easy and they think that that's, So
I think you've proven that it's not easy.
Well, I don't think I have, because they come to work and they see the craft service table, which is the food, right? They go and they get they can have donuts or lollipops or whatever they want. There's tons of gum and cheese balls and stuff like that. So, they see that part of it. They see the parts when I don't work. They see the parts when people are fluffing my hair and and I'm getting a lot of attention and the bright lights or the applause and that kind of thing. They don't see me learning my lines or me doing the rehearsals over and over again, or they don't see the sort of the behind the scenes, the real behind the scenes, like they're behind the
I
scenes.
feel like
with me,
Tucker got a good view of that when you were doing Santa Boot Camp this summer.
He realized that he didn't want to do it over and over and over again.
Well, and watching you and how the hours you were there on set.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He was ready to do it, and he did it, and he did it 5 times.
He did a great job.
But then we had to move the camera, and he had to do it again a half an hour later. And then we moved the camera, and he had to do it a half an hour later. He was really not happy about it. Well, my friends are here. I want to play now, because all his friends were in the movie as well, as you know, because yours was one of them. But they were, he was confused by the work ethic of it all. But the thing is, there was a magazine that came out about the movie, sort of more generally about Christmas movies. Mm-hmm. And a girl was on set with us the whole time and did this article in this magazine. It really made me mad because she said that Tucker didn't know his lines, and I bribed him with a trip to Target. And it made me very upset because it mainly sounded like, and now with this Nepo baby topic, that all of a sudden came up, it sounded very much like she's crying out nepotism, that I gave my son this part because.
But he did know his lines.
He knew his lines from the time he auditioned for it.
I was there. I watched him
auditioned. I helped him audition, put him on tape, sent it to the producers. They approved. They sent it to the network. The network approved. Because if they hadn't, they could have been like, well, let's do a round of auditions and see.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. We knew that it was, I only want him to be there if he's the best for the part. I don't want to embarrass myself, the movie,
Right.
So anyway, I got very upset about that article because the girl was on set the whole time and saw that he was a serious professional until he wanted to mess around. And then it was like, hey, remember, you're going to Target after.
Also, remember, he's a 10-year-old kid.
But also, I get paid to work. Part of the reason I behave myself at work is because I'm getting paid. Mm-hmm. For him to go to Target and be able to pick out a toy, when I was a little girl and I was acting, I didn't know what my paychecks were. I didn't know it was putting food on the table and clothes on my back and helping us do a family vacation once a year. I was getting a Barbie.
Yeah.
And that was great. I got a Barbie if I did a good job at work. And he got a trip to Target if he did. So I was like, that's not bribery. That's getting paid. And the money goes into his college account, but he doesn't see that for a long time. That's nothing for him. So anyway,
that's
that made me
perfect
mad.
transition into this whole Nepo baby
conversation.
conversation.
And then last week when he was on our podcast, somebody cried Nepo baby under the post I did about him being on the podcast. They said, oh, nepotism is at its finest. And I said, no, more like bring your child to work day, or I don't know. It was just fun to have him here. He was upset because he's a Stranger Things fan. Why wouldn't we have him on to talk about Stranger Things? Right. It wasn't nepotism. He's not getting paid for this. It was a fun thing to do.
Here's my whole view on this, though. If you are a parent, no matter what you do, your child is going to be influenced by it, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're my dad was a plumber.
Yeah.
I know a lot about plumbing because my dad was a plumber.
Yeah.
Did I choose to become a plumber? No. But if I had, would that be nepotism?
That's the thing. Okay,
no.
so this it stems back to me for right around Christmas when this all came out. My sister sent an article to the whole family and was like, interesting, huh? I think it was New York Times or Vanity Fair or something. And it was all Nepo babies, right? And she's like, interesting, huh? I'm like, not really. There's not a conversation. I don't understand why we're still talking about this. So it makes me mad that we're bringing it up here. But at the same time, it is still a relevant topic that is hurting people's lives. It just feels like useless gossip that's filling up space because people want to have something juicy to talk about. They want to talk about Prince Harry. They want to talk about nepotism.
And they like to think that people don't deserve their place.
And they're all, and the thing is, we're the consumers.
Their spot.
We're the ones watching the movies. I love, one of my favorite Nepo babies right now is Maya Hawke. My phone is just going berserk. Hold on. I don't know what's going on. I am obsessed with Maya Hawke because I saw her on Stranger Things. I don't care how she got there. And here's the thing, she's an adult. Every Nepo baby I can think of, minus one, started their careers after 18. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with family business.
And honestly, I don't have any issue with them starting younger than that. If that's what they choose to do, and their parents are going to be able to keep them safer than any other parents that would be coming in blindly. I mean, think about how protective your mother had to be when you were a child actor, and she was trying to make sure that you were safe and you were well taken care of and you weren't overworked. And now at least there's, rules and regulations in place to help do that. But you've said before, that was not a thing when you were doing Clarissa and some of these other shows.
No.
So at least these kids are well prepared. They're with people who are going to keep them as safe as possible and help direct them in a way that's going to help them be successful.
I mean, I really feel like, look, if you were raised on a farm, you probably know a lot about farming. You've helped out. You've gotten the eggs from the chicken, or you plowed the field. You get ridden in the plow with your dad, or you've been a part of something. If you're an artist, you've seen, if your parents were an artist, if you there's just so many. There's so many family businesses. How many construction companies are like, Harry and Son, and like,
right.
How is that not nepotism? Like, nepotism to me is like when you get your daddy to give your boyfriend a job, maybe you're opening a door that they're not qualified for or something like that. Right. So maybe, but if your dad's a lawyer and you've watched him study law and you just are like, what, that's interesting. What's that about? Let me see. But in the art industry, music, athletics, I think, and especially in showbiz, there's an element of bring your child with you. There's a little bit of a loosey-goosey, you can bring your child sometimes to set, right? Mm-hmm. So they see certain things. They can watch you in a play, or they can sit backstage with you while you get ready for your TV show or talk show or whatever it is. And there's a shorthand that happens in this industry that is half the battle of being experienced in this industry. So if you know the shorthand and you understand certain things, then the pathway is going to be a little bit easier for you. And if your last name is Pitt, it will be a little bit easier for you. If your last name is Clooney, it's going to be a little easier for you.
You might get meetings more easily or auditions more easily, but you still have to prove yourself.
Probably not, though. Here's the thing, like that whole Timothy Chalamet, that guy. That little cutie. The whole story that came out about him and his agent saying, he hasn't auditioned for anything in 10 years. That's not because of nepotism.
It's because he's freaking talented.
It's because he got a big gig. However he got that first big gig, it opened. He's really good. He's been nominated for things. He's constantly the number one pick of any boy.
Who's he related
in his
to anyway?
20s. His uncle was a director and his parents were sort of like writers.
We're reaching.
We're so reaching on that one. He is not a Nepo baby by any means. But
like Tom Hanks said, this is a family business.
It's a family business. And none of these kids, Bryce Dallas Howard, Maya Hawke, who I'm obsessed with. I think she's brilliant. She looks like her mother. She acts like her father. She's like...
Well, like Lily Collins is having a huge moment with Emily in Paris.
Yes.
And, I mean, she's clearly talented. Like, who cares who her family is?
If you don't like them, here's the thing. There are a lot of people, friends of mine, who have children. They've tried to get in the industry. It doesn't work when they're not talented.
Right.
But, with this industry also, there's a huge component of what you look like. Mm-hmm. So if you have a certain look, you'll get jobs. And if you look like your child, if your child looks like you, there's a good chance that that's half the battle. You walk in the room or they see your headshot and that's the first thing they see. They go, okay, good looking or quirky looking or just what I'm thinking for this role, whatever it is. And if you have that look, then that's half the battle. And then you have to have the talent to back it up.
Right.
And if you're someone like Maya Hawke, who just has this great ability to kind of, and she's obviously learned from her mom. A lot of people have the same voice as their parent or same mannerisms. So she brings this familiarity with her as well. And Uma Thurman is a fantastic actress.
I mean,
she's brilliant.
Yeah. And Ethan Hawke.
Maya's got that. And she's what, 20, I think now? So maybe 17. She's
young.
She's made her to like they didn't force her in at 5 years old and go be an actor and make some money. They're like allowing her to develop, allowing her to make her choice. And
she's
here's
24,
her choice.
by the way.
24. So there. She is a freaking adult when she becomes she didn't get it at 18 the second she left high school.
Leah Thompson.
Yeah.
Her daughter are both very successful
Brilliant,
on their own.
One's a writer more so, I think, and then Zoe is becoming a huge actress. Her name is at the top of all the lists.
Yes.
Along with like Jenna Ortega and like and like Timothy Chalamet is up there with like all these other like Nick Robinson from my show Melissa and Joey, like all these boys. There's a certain group of people that kind of go together, and those people are always sort of like, I can tell you from casting, like you'll have get a list. And for Timothy, for his people to say he didn't need to audition, it's just a matter of a few things. When you get to a certain level, like when I got Sabrina, my agent started telling people she will not audition because there's a good chance you're not going to like what I do. So they want to get the offer. So they say she will be offer only. So a lot of the times these people are offer only. Also, if they have a super packed schedule and it'll be like offer only, how much money are you going to give us and how much time is this going to take? And I'm not going to make them go through the audition process because that can be embarrassing. That can be detrimental. You'll have footage of him that you might not like and you might spread somewhere else. So it makes a lot of sense to be offer only. And you would like my agents still think I should be offer only, which I shouldn't. I should be auditioning, but because I should prove that I could get the job. But I don't get the chance. My agents will turn it down before it even comes to, like, I don't even get the option of being like, hey, do you like this project enough to audition for it?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I wish I could audition a little bit more, but it is a different art than being on camera.
Well, I think after, 30 years in this business, I think you've proven yourself, so.
Well, a little bit, but as much as you get successful, you also, it's not the kind of business where you keep growing. I've said this before, it's not go up the ladder, the corporate ladder to get the corner office and the big promotion. It's an up and down business. You have huge success. What comes next? You have to reinvent yourself. Does the audience want to see you be the same thing? Hollywood doesn't want to see you be the same thing, but maybe the audience does, and the audience believes you're this age. But like for me, I'm getting roles. People are like, "Do you want to play a grandma?" I'm like, "What? What the hell? I've never even been pregnant in a movie or TV show. Why am I gonna all of a sudden be a grandma?" No, I don't think that's what the audience wants to see. But they see my age. They go, "Oh, 46. You could be playing a grandma. Let's get you. We'll just age you up a little bit to like 52 and make you a grandma." I'm like, I don't think that's going to be what the audience wants to see, but it's what Hollywood thinks because they see my age. So there's just all there's these different things, and I feel like with the Nepo baby conversation, it infuriates me because it's an art, and there are tons of people's babies that have not made it. I'll tell you backstage, off mic, who I think is a good example of like someone whose baby has been pushed in the media over and over again, but no one wants to work with them.
No one's biting. Yeah. So as a mom, does this conversation make you more apt or less apt to encourage your children to continue?
I mean, look, this thing should have gone away 2 days after it came out. I can't even believe we're still talking about it like a month later. But so it doesn't influence me at all in that decision. What's going to influence me is whether or not my kids are passionate about it. If they're truly passionate about it. And here's the thing. I think there's a great chance Mason will go into music, and there's a even better chance that Tucker's going to go into music. Tucker has an ear like Mark. He can hear something once and he can sing it.
But Mark being, rock star, the same could be said in that industry.
That's the thing. And if you have a talent, you might pass that talent down. I don't have that talent.
Well, I look at Riker. I mean, Logan has always done creative things, always been in media, always a filmmaker, all those things. And Riker's only 10, but that is certainly his gifting.
Well, it's partly what you're exposed to and partly where your talent lies and your interest.
I feel like that is a natural thing that you give to your kids.
Yeah.
Creativity is spread.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that's the thing. I think that if you have the interest, if you have the talent, and if you have the exposure. So yeah, the exposure is part of it, and that maybe opens doors, but it's not taking away from the people that are new. Because sometimes there's like, everyone wants a new, fresh face sometimes. But we wouldn't have George Clooney, right? I made a little list of all the people we wouldn't have, right? Jamie Lee Curtis is part of this big conversation right now, right? And I mean, Miley Cyrus, George Clooney, Haley Baldwin's part of the conversation now, which I think is kind of weird.
She came out in that shirt the other day that just said Nepo baby, which I think is brilliant and hilarious.
But what does she do? Is she an influencer?
She's a model.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
And she used to be a professional ballerina.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because so she has a career. She had another career. And the thing is, like, she's got the name, but...
And her dad was in Biodome. Let's not forget.
And her uncle was the one that I convinced my boyfriend to kill in Twisted Desire.
Oh, that's right.
But if you think about, like, her, for example, people... Okay, I remember... You might be too young for this, Amanda, but when... I think the first baby that people were really interested in seeing was Madonna's baby. Like Madonna had a baby daddy.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And everyone wanted to see what her baby
Lourdes,
looked like.
right?
Lourdes. And so that was the first time I think that the paparazzi, that the press, that they were like, what does this baby look like? Who is this baby? You know, Madonna's baby. And it became fascination.
Yeah.
And so the paparazzi starts following around these stars' babies.
Or like Michael Jackson's kids.
Yes, Michael Jackson's kids are a good example. And then Demi Moore and Bruce Willis's kids, what do they look like? And so they started being fascinated with what these kids look like. And a lot of them are gorgeous. And then what else can we do? So then you're taking pictures of them. What are they going to do? They can make money being an influencer. They can make money, being on magazine covers.
Why not use that opportunity? Like, yes, I understand it is a privilege, but it is also, it comes with a lot of responsibility. Like, these kids didn't ask to be born into these families.
No.
But if you are
There's
in
a lot
that
of
situation
pressure and a lot of attention on you.
and you still have to make a living,
Yeah.
why not?
And people are offering you money, fame. They're taking your picture anyway in the street. You might as well get paid for it. I think ultimately here's the way I look at it. I just think there's enough room for everybody. It doesn't take away from someone from you to have someone else have success.
Right.
So leave them alone. Like, who the hell cares? Let's just end the conversation, because the only people that's true nepotism is the royal family.
Oh, she said it.
Right? I mean, come on. The firstborn gets to be king, queen, like
The heir and
you
the
have to be the heir and the spare.
spare.
Which, by the way, you know who phrased that? It wasn't Prince Charles,
Well, and
King Charles.
to play devil's advocate here, though, they didn't choose to be the royal family.
No,
They were born into it.
but a lot of people believe, a lot of the royals, like from as far as I know, like Louis XIV, and a lot of people believe that they were given that God placed them there to be a royal.
Well, sure.
And I guess technically, yeah, because they were born into the family. But the heir and the spare, I don't like that Charles is getting all the credit for that phrase, because that's actually from a phrase from Consuelo Vanderbilt, who became the Duchess of Marlborough.
So heir and a spare means that you have the first boy, and then they would always try for a second
They got
boy
the backup
to have the backup, because babies didn't
in
always.
case somebody doesn't survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Consuelo Vanderbilt gave the Duke of Marlborough 2 boys, and then she basically said her job was done, and because she hated her husband, and so she left. But that's where I know that the phrase came from, which is actually why Winston Churchill gets to be prime minister, because he was in line for the throne, and something about he couldn't run for prime minister until the Duchess had the babies, and then all of a sudden he was kind of like so far down the line of the throne that he could go be prime minister. And he actually ended up he's a Spencer, which is related to Diana.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up when the Duchess of Marlborough, when Consuelo wanted to divorce the Duke, he was the one that mediated the divorce. Winston, right? He was a good friend to Consuelo Vanderbilt.
I don't know enough about that. But
I am obsessed with the Vanderbilt
I know
family.
you are. So my whole thought, obviously, it's like Harry and Meghan's world right now, and we're all just living in it.
Yeah.
Because you got
Feels like that.
the docuseries on Netflix. You've got Spare that just released this week, which we've been trying to dive into. You've got all of these different interviews.
Every magazine
that has
cover.
been
Going back to Oprah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I just don't understand why they want that much attention. I understand telling your story. I don't understand the press junket. Anderson Cooper, right, did a whole thing with him.
Yeah.
Then Anderson Cooper did a follow-up interview. I haven't seen this yet, but because I didn't give a crap until the book came out. And all of a sudden, we were talking about it last week on the episode, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to read it. All of a sudden, I don't know where that came from, and now I'm kind of obsessed.
I'm not obsessed. I'm actually having a hard time diving in.
Really? Are you listening to it?
Yes.
Oh,
because
see, I love his
He's
voice.
reading it, so I was excited about that. And I don't usually do audio. You know that. But
I love when he goes, no, lad, no.
It's also super awkward. It feels like Logan's been listening to that Bono biography or memoir, and it's Bono reading it. And Bono you think of as like a poet. So when Prince Harry's sitting there talking about like the garden where he's about to get in that argument with his dad and brother, and he's like, and the water was reflective of the abyss, and you're like, okay,
You didn't buy it?
no.
Oh.
It's like, and the fake
I think he's a
ruin. I'm like,
romantic.
you were the one who talked about like doing shrooms on Courtney Cox's sofa. Come on, like,
Yeah, he does get into a bit of cocaine, like
so
stuff.
I'm not buying
Club
it.
H. Have you gotten a Club H yet in the book?
No.
Club H is
Also,
what they called their
if
basement.
I hear Meghan call him H one more time in the documentary, I'm going to pull my own eyebrows
She
out.
calls him H?
She calls him H, just H.
That's not a fun Like that's not easy to say. Like it's one thing if you have a child named like
I think it's easier
Ellie
to
and
say
you call
Harry.
him L, or my sister Emily, we call her M.
It's
H. That's H.
I don't know.
That's like a lot of
I'm very
mouth
endeared to
movement.
him. I'm having a hard time with her because I feel like I can't read her. Like
So here's the thing, what I like about the book. She's not involved. Not yet anyway.
She will be.
She will be, but I like
I'm not there yet.
I like him. I trust him. He reminds me of my brother. So I feel a little fond of him. I always have. I love the fact that he might not have been Charles's, but he debunks that. But I do. Wait, I have some notes. Do you want to hear my notes
Yes, give me your notes.
about Harry?
Also, don't spoil anything because I think I'm behind where you are.
Okay, no. There's really nothing to spoil. I mean, it's sort of all laid out there. It's just I just wrote down things I find fascinating about it. So first of all, I find it super fascinating that they call him Harold, but his name's not Harold. His name is like, we should look this up, but his name is like a million other king names. It's like George. He's like Henry George Albert. He's got like 5 names and not one of them is Harold. Not one name.
Brain, what is Prince Harry's name officially?
I swear, not one of his names. Prince Harry's real name.
Theme of the day is just
Henry Charles Albert David. That's his name. Henry Charles Albert David. I had to listen to I rewound this 4 times on my audiobook. Because I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like Henry Charles Albert David and they call him Harold. What the hell is that about? Why do you give a child so many names and not give him...
Maybe it's a British thing.
It's just, I mean, I get it if it's like you're the third in line and it's Chip.
Like kind of like your William
Junior.
and your Bill.
Yeah, but what is Harry short? Why Harold
Or
for Henry?
Richard and your Dick. I don't know.
He's Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Henry Charles Albert David of Windsor. Like what? Wales of Windsor? No, not Wales. Windsor. I don't know.
Windsor. That's what they always said was their last name, right?
But that was only because of Queen Elizabeth. I think that's where it first started. Was Windsor. They had to claim a last name because of
School.
Prince Edward.
Right?
No, because Prince Edward wanted his name to be the family name. Did you remember The Crown? Like he wanted his
vaguely.
He's like, I'm the dad.
This
Shouldn't they
didn't
be
stick with
my?
me.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about the name, and somehow Windsor became the winner of what.
Also when he's talking, this was a thing that I was like, ugh, the way that he points out how they separated Wallace Simpson's grave from everybody else's.
Oh yeah,
I was like, why are we pulling this in here? Like we're just
you
trying
didn't like
to...
saying that he said that.
No, because I'm like, this is just
Because he's going to be buried there next to her. They did the exact same thing. Basically, abdicated, married an American, and left.
Well,
he followed in George's footsteps. Exactly. Well, not George.
Edward.
Right? He followed in his footsteps. So, oh yeah, I said Edward before. And
except he was never going to be king, and Edward was king.
Yes.
So I think that's the major difference.
I mean, he was third in line until 3 children came along. So
unless something really bad happened, that was not going to happen.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. I never thought. I mean, you think about this with like the president and vice presidents, but of the United States, but you don't really think about it with them. That Willie and Charles. Willie, I love that he called him Willie. By the way,
which
he calls him Willie the whole book.
Don't you think that's kind of a slight?
No, it must be what he always called. It must be like probably what his mother called him, and he called him too.
I don't know.
I kind of love it because
like
I never heard it.
I felt like it was a jab.
Oh, I don't think any of it is a jab.
Oh, I think you're maybe a little naive.
I don't think it's a jab. I think it's actually a brotherly love and him trying to be
Y'all
fair.
let us know how you feel about this. I feel like this might be a dividing.
This could be a good question next week. Everybody,
situation
if you've listened to the book or read the book, come out and ask us questions for next week. But
I don't know if it. Yeah, because they don't seem to be on good terms. So I don't feel like
they're not now, but they were
lovely.
But he
not
talks
when he
about
wrote this.
But he talks all about how. They like of Mice and Men. Did you get to the part where they talk?
No, not yet.
About it? So he talks all about how it was him and his brother, like in the trenches. It was just the two of them, and I think the girls drove them apart, and I think that happens sometimes, and differences occur in families, and they.
Well, we'll check back in next week and see where we both are in the book and how we're feeling about it.
I think
now
I think he's mad about the way they've treated his wife, but I don't think he ever had any ill feelings before that. He doesn't seem to mind the spare title.
No, because he doesn't have to. I feel like if you were going to be a royal, that's the way to do it now. Like, be the spare so you can, like, have the, like, little bit of freedom. You're not really concerned with what you're going to be when you grow up. You're like, hey, I've got a job laid out for me if I want it, but I can kind of do my own thing too. It's kind of
Yeah. Well, but he goes on a lot to say, and I think this might be beyond where you are, to say that they portrayed him as the bad boy. They needed him to be the bad boy. His father and Camilla, this is some of the telling stuff. Like when he first meets with Camilla, when she wants to have a one-on-one with him, but of course first it's Willie that gets to go. And by the way, saying Willie, I'm thinking about the other names he says. He says Pa, Gan, Grammy, but I think Prince Philip was always Grandpa. But he uses all the terms. Mummy. It's always Mummy, Pa. So I think Willie is just what he's always called him. Like I don't think he would say that to be undercutting. I think that's just what he called him. Because why would you? I don't know.
I feel like you might have rose-colored glasses on.
No, I just don't think my sister would like call me Melly just to be like, "Hey Melly," unless she called me Melly. You know what I mean? Like if she always called me Melissa. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, another good point here though is like you're not calling your sister a racist. He's calling his brother lots of horrible things.
We'll see. We'll get to that part. I want to hear because the way he says it so far is like the juiciest bit to me so far is the first chapter 16 because there's 3 chapter 16s. It goes to like 88 chapters in each 3 parts of the book.
Okay, a whole nother issue I have with this book. You got like 10
more hours to go. So chapter 16, he talks about Camilla and how it was lovely when they met and she was so warm and he and Willie felt the same way about her. But then she pulled him into a room to talk with him and they pleaded with her dad. They said, we're fine with you dating her. Please don't marry her. Please don't marry her. And a little while later, Camilla had hired a new publicist to work spin control. And all of a sudden, the intimate details of just him and Camilla's meeting alone privately was in the papers, and that there was stuff that he said she would. The two of us were the only ones that knew that stuff happened in the conversation, and all of a sudden it was in the papers that they had this conversation and that X, Y, and Z was talked about, and so the only person that could have leaked it was Camilla. So she's obviously leaking things, and now she's positioning herself not only to marry Charles, but also to get to wear the crown. Because remember in the beginning when they first started dating, it was like she could never be queen consort or something like that. There was like a whole thing.
Then the queen made it possible.
Well, so that's her campaign. That's Camilla's campaign, according to it's just like one line where he's basically like, and then somehow, she put a spin on our private meeting and leaked it to the press and started to advocate for the crown and in marriage. So that's the first thing he says about her. He's like, but otherwise she was lovely. But then she did this. And then I just got to a part where he talks about, because he was doing some drugs, like he was smoking pot and stuff. Someone got word of it and leaked it to the press. And basically what they did was then the spin doctor person used it to make Charles, because Charles was slandered in the press from Diana's death. I don't know if you remember that, but I hated him. I didn't even know him, and I was like, I hate this guy. He killed his wife. He killed Princess Diana. How dare he? And so they were saying he was so known as like the awful husband who was cheating on his beautiful, wonderful wife.
So this took the spotlight off of him.
This made him because now Harry was they asked if Harry would take the fall as being a drug addict, and he had no choice. And so Camilla and Charles put him in the press as being the so that it was like, oh, the poor widowed single father is trying to handle raising 2 sons and one of them's a drug addict. I mean, it's how it felt to Harry, and he says very clearly in the beginning, this is how I remember it. Like, not this is necessarily how it was. This is how I remember it.
And to me, that says I might lie a little.
No, I think it's saying...
I'm just saying.
I did that with my book because it was very much like you start going through your stories and you go, God, did that really happen? Did I really throw water in Oscar de la Hoya's face? Or did I imagine that? Because that seems really weird and far off from who I am or what I do. And so you remember these things and you're like, ooh, I don't like that about myself, or I don't like that about that person, or maybe it doesn't mean quite what I thought it did.
I don't know. I just don't want to go into it with like love blinders because I want to really like Harry. I'm confused by Meghan. Because I feel like I can't read her.
I have no feelings about her yet because I don't know anything about her.
I don't know. Phil, being around you, I can tell when you're in actress mode and I can tell when you're in like Melissa mode. And they are 2 very different things. With her...
You're saying I act different? Am I bipolar?
No. When you're acting or when you're like on,
Yeah.
there's a difference than how you are just in normal everyday conversation.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe because the only things I ever see of her are when she's acting or she's in front of a camera.
She's in front of camera.
But like in this documentary, it's like her in her bathroom with her hair in a towel and she's like talking to her iPhone. I'm like,
oh, really?
Okay. And they talk about like, well, we just decided we needed to document this.
She seems to
I'm
me.
like, no,
I
you
know
left
nothing about
and
her.
you calculated, you knew what was happening. You knew you'd already been slammed in the press. And you're like, maybe it's the intention behind it. Why do you care so much? Like, what do you have to
I think
prove?
she seems like a wounded puppy to me. Like, she always seemed a little bit like a wounded puppy. She was sort of like, you know, first she was on a show that was kind of embarrassing because she had to stand in a bikini with a suitcase or whatever, right? And she like
It's like little cocktail dresses.
Yeah. Oh, was it cocktail dress?
Yeah.
It wasn't like bathing suits.
She wasn't
and stuff?
naked.
No, I was imagining bathing suits. Or is that Price is Right? Anyway. So she was like a little, showcase girl kind of thing. And then she goes on to a show that's popular and great, but she's a minor character in it, right? She wasn't like
No, she was a pretty major character.
But it's a big ensemble.
Yes,
it's not
a
like
huge
her
cast.
show. And then, and then she meets the prince. She becomes a princess, but she stirs up all kinds of trouble. And so I feel like she just seems like a lost soul to me that never quite figured out who she was in time to come into all this notoriety, press, scrutiny.
I mean, I cannot imagine it was easy by any means, but I just wish...
I do not want to be a princess. Let me just start with that.
I mean, I do, but...
You were treated like a princess. You're fine.
Oh, for sure.
That's the thing. We only want to be treated like a princess. We don't actually want to be a princess.
No. But a tiara wouldn't hurt.
You can buy one.
I have some.
I know you do. But you don't have one like Harry describes the one that... who wears it? I think it's on the coffin of Gam Gam's.
Like
Gam
her
Gam's
big
coffin.
coronation.
It has like 105, and he even says it. I like the audiobook too because you really get the intention of what he's like. He goes on about like it's 105 carat diamond.
It's huge.
Like the biggest diamond in the world.
Have
and
you
only
seen
women.
that video of the queen? They like put it down on a table in front of her, and they're wearing like these gloves, and they barely touch it, and she just reaches out with her hands, and she goes, and like brings it to herself. She goes, and she's like, "What? This is what I do when I put it on my head."
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Well, I mean,
I would be.
I love
like,
that he actually said only women get to wear it. Like I thought that was an interesting little footnote, like because he says 105 carat diamond on this thing, and like the biggest in the world, and blah 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 blah. And he's like, and there have been wars fought, and people died over this, and he goes, but only women get to wear it, which I thought was really interesting.
I'm a woman. Can I wear it?
Yes, you can wear it. Apparently, any woman can wear it. And if you identify as a woman, maybe you can wear it too. I don't even know.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back to this topic because
we have
the
to
Prince
finish.
Harry part of it,
We have to finish.
not the nepotism baby thing, because I feel like we made our point there.
I'm done with that Nepo baby conversation. Everybody just let it go. All right? It's the family business. Just leave it alone.
All right, weekly homework. Everybody go read Spare.
Let's read Spare. We'll talk about it next week. And then I'm also still Fleischmann's Handmaids.
That's
I'm
on my
getting it.
list.
1923 I started. What else did I get into?
Oh, yeah, if you
Jack
got...
Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Ryan. I got a
Topics.
lot.
If you got topics that you want us to talk about, we're down for that. Just basically interact with us. Give us all your questions, your comments, your topics, everything on the What Women Binge Instagram. We're there all the time.
Yep, we're on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube if you want to watch it. And and we'll be checking for your questions. And you guys can rate and review us on the podcast app, the Apple one, Spotify, any of them. And if you tell your friends, we'd really love it. You can subscribe and you can get our merch. We have merch now.
Yes.
WhatWomenBinge.com is where you can find everything. The link
All the
tree to
links
Spotify, to Apple, to the merchandise, to all of it. So check
hang
it
with
out,
us.
guys. And thanks for being with us. And we'll see you next week.
Woot.
Dolly for president.